The first appearance of the word vampire dates back to 1734, but the true origin of the belief in vampires comes from the 12th century, when people misunderstood the process of decomposing. Unaware that corpses decompose in different rates depending on factors such as temperature and soil composition, they mistook that the corpses that took too long to decompose as a sign of the continuation of life. And after that, stories broke out about vampires and their origins. Some suggested that they are people buried alive and had to feed on their own blood, and some went with the routes of a disease that turned people into vampires. But the most popular one is that they got their powers from bats, while in reality, bats were only discovered in the 16th century, and they were named after the folkloric vampires, and not the other way around, because the word bat means awareness of the powers of darkness and chaos. Vampires became extremely popular in the 18th century, when there was an Eastern European hysteria of suspected vampire sightings that led people and even government agents on quests that involved digging graves and staking the suspected corpses. And that was the inspiration of the infamous weak point of stabbing them with wood, among other weak points like decapitation, garlic, and sunlight, even though the moon is also reflecting sunlight. Guess they didn't think this one through.
Sounds and voices can be considered as two separate things, while the sound is the physical phenomenon caused by vibrations that are carried through a medium, either it's a gas like air, or liquid, or even solid. That's why it is known that there is no sound in space, because there is no air for sound to travel in. However, the voice is more about language. If you remember in school, active voices are in sentences like, the ogre ate the onion, and passive voices are in sentences like, the onion was eaten by the ogre, and there are many others. But people attribute the word voice to the different levels of pitches of the sounds that different humans and animals make. I am sorry. There is something in my throat.
Much better. Wait, I have a voice? Oh my God. He is not blinking his lights. That means he is going straight ahead. Why don't you blink, you stupid idiot?
I have all your data. The 52 playing cards have been a staple for all sorts of entertainment, in games like poker, and blackjack, magic tricks, and more. However, they weren't always the way they are. Their first appearance wasn't on cards even, it was actually on blocks of wood, in the Chinese Tang dynasty, in the 9th century. However, it kept evolving while it was spreading, with new play styles and new designs in Persia, Egypt, and eventually it made its way to Europe, where it started to be printed on actual cards. Also, in Europe a number of countries adopted the idea of having symbols on the cards, but eventually the French design is the one that stuck, with the famous form factor of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. However, the most famous usage of playing cards is gambling, and before cards were invented, people used to gamble on fighting animals, so we have to thank playing cards, because they saved the lives of many innocent animals from people who put them into fights. Oh wait. Idiots still do that. The famous comic book superhero, the Batman, is designed to be a very grim and a dark personality, but even Batman can't be too dark, because after all, he's a superhero for children, and in order to make him more PG, the writers included a moral code that prevents Batman from going too far, and killing people, and it is embedded in his famous quote, "If you kill a killer, the number of killers won't change." Even that somehow sounds wise and badass at the same time, but it is the easiest quote to dispute. It is true if you kill one killer, but what if you killed more? I know that he means to distinguish himself from criminals, and not to slip to insanity, but come on Batman, you can do better. The hazardous materials suit, or a hazmat suit, it is a protective suit that covers the body, the hands, the eyes, feet, and respiratory system. Since it usually contains a self-contained breathing apparatus, these suits have different versions, depending on how much protective the suit is. For example, in the US and Brazil, there are 4 levels, and they are classified as A, B, C, and D, A being the most protective, used in most extreme cases of chemical damage, and D being the least protective, which is used by everyday workers that require protection. While in Europe there are 6 different types of suits. These suits protect from toxic materials, such as chemical materials, nuclear materials, biological materials, and high temperature, and most importantly, the toxicity of TikTok. When creating the video game, Space Invaders, the creator Tomohiro Nishikato found a lag in the game. That lag caused the enemies to multiply. However, instead of fixing it, he intentionally left the lag in the game. His reason for that was to make the game harder and more challenging. Ha ha ha, lazy Dark Souls developers, they still haven't fixed the lags in their game yet. I am sure they'll fix it soon. Anytime now. The famous stores chain named IKEA, it's an acronym that stands for Ingvar Kamprad, Elmdorad, Agunnarad, which Ingvar Kamprad is the name of the founder, Elmdorad is the farm he grew up in, and Agunnarad is his hometown village. Which is contrary to the popular belief that it stands for, I know everything about you. Oh my God.
The famous Sonic the Hedgehog series of games is created by SEGA in an attempt to make a mascot to compete with Nintendo's Mario. After the programmer Yuji Naka has created an algorithm that allows a character to run smoothly on a curve, SEGA decided that they want a character to run fast and curl into a ball. Originally they created Eggman, the current antagonist of the series, to be the protagonist. And the name of Eggman is a nod to the original idea of having him curling into a ball shape. But they scratched that idea because they believed that anthropomorphic animals are more popular with children. And they settled on a hedgehog because they are known to curl into a ball shape in real life. So cute. Sonic was a great success, and he drove Sega sales so high and made their name into the industry. However, the lack of care towards the franchise made the fans collectively agree that nowadays, the Sonic fanfiction is more popular than the games themselves.